Oh, that's new. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 49 of the Garage Athlete Show. So I don't know if that'll come up on the recording, but Zoom has just added in a feature where it tells you now where it's been recording. I'm guessing that's because some people have been caught out recording meetings when they shouldn't have been. So I'm joined today by the lovely Rachel. Dan has sacked us off. I'm only joking. Dan has actually got a chance to train for the first time this week. So we gave him the night off recording the podcast, and we're going to do a bit of a Q&A session. So for those of you that don't know, myself, Rachel and Dan are running a transformation challenge within the Home Gym UK group at the moment. We've got 32 people on an 8-week transformation program. It's going really, really well so far. We put up a question box within that program, and those are the questions we're going to kind of run through today. So how are you, Rachel? Obviously, a lot's changed for you since the last time we had you on the podcast. We'll have a bit of a catch up and then we'll delve into some questions.
Yeah, with regards to sort of the gym, I've pretty much moved most of my work online, other than sort of injury rehab and any one-to-ones that are needed. And that's just because I kind of not forced my hand through COVID. It's just kind of happened. And it was a case of, where does my energy meter lie to benefit the most people? So to me, it makes sense to follow that route, really. And like I've always said, it was never, opening the gym was never about opening the gym. It was always about helping people in the best way possible with my skill set and continue learning. And it's just kind of led to this avenue. I mean, there's going to be other changes in the coming months, which I'm hoping to share with you guys really soon. But yeah, it's, again, just big changes, but it's not fighting against what's there. It's just kind of going with it and thinking, right, well, not financially following things, but in terms of what my interests, my passions are, and sort of how to have the most impact on the most people. It just makes sense. So I was very reluctant to move online. I'm very much an in-person person, but Zoom has kind of taken that out of the equation, and I'm finding that people are a lot more relaxed about, because obviously the pelvic health side of stuff and injuries are very personal, and when you're discussing things, you've got a lot of emotion coming into play. But I think because all my consultations, like pre-sign up, we always have like a free consultation just to make sure like myself and the client are a good fit for each other. Them with me with them, works both ways. And I think because of doing that, it kind of sets the tone for it. As in, it is as though you're just meeting in person, because you're not just having a conversation on the phone, which I feel for me depersonalizes things, because you don't get people's mannerisms, you don't see the facial expressions, the body language, which tells you more than the words coming out of them. So my view on things has changed, even though I'm getting a little bit older, but I'm a little bit more open to things. But yeah,
I think COVID has accelerated a lot of industries moving more into the online. Like, online training was a thing before COVID, but it's massively accelerated it. And because now a lot more people are within that space, the tools that are at your disposal have had to get better, because there's so much more competition between all these companies that everyone's having to level up their ability to kind of be able to coach. Like, I know at least once a quarter for me at the moment, it's right, sit down with my notepad, what's going well, what can be improved, how can I upgrade my service to keep ahead of all these new online coaches that are kind of coming on board. So like, I know I'm not the cheapest coach out there. I don't claim to be, but I know I get results. And I know that I am continuously looking at my business and going, right, how do I make it better? How do I make the experience better for the guys that are in there? How do I get even better results more consistently? And I think for yourself and for Dan, like, that is one of the things that has really, I think, brought us together, is we all want to be the best coach that we can be within kind of our own areas. And I find that like our strengths complement the person's weaknesses, and then the same kind of like vice versa. I think that's why the coaching plan's going so well, just because there's a nice little variety of personalities and things in there.
Yeah. Just off the back of that, I was speaking with a client last week, just with regards to things, and I always sort of say, question where you're spending your money, question the person's integrity, their results, ask to speak to their clients. Don't just go off the reviews that people post online, because they may not be actual reviews. And just sort of from a level of personal investment, like I've always had a bit of a barrier against sort of pricing and money and things. And I've really reflected the way you have in terms of the amount of in-person work I've done versus kind of the CPD side of things, and just making sure that there's always a level of application, so that if I do any courses, if I go on any seminars, like I was in Liverpool with a team of pelvic health physios. I was only non-physio there like 3 weeks ago. And, you know, that was a hefty investment and it was a fantastic experience. And that is what I then bring back into my products and services. So it's only right that my prices do reflect that, because my level of knowledge is far greater than someone else who hasn't done that, or hasn't invested, or hasn't changed and upgraded their services to match. And you guys are exactly the same, because the whole idea with this is you are that, you know, that everlasting learner, that person who's always invested in knowing more. Everlasting wasn't the right word. What was I looking for? It's like ongoing. It's like lifelong learner, really. Just to make sure that you are providing the best, and it keeps you very much in touch with your own kind, like where you stand in terms of what you do deliver, the results you get, and how you can justify charging what you do, but also the assurance and the reassurance for the client that they're getting what they're paying for, and above and beyond that as well.
Yeah, 100%. And it's, as well, not every single client is always going to be a good fit. So like, I find that I'm moving away from working with like complete beginners now, just because they, especially with like online coaching, like they need so much more time and like technique work. So like, it's very, very, so for somebody who's like what I would class as a beginner, intermediate / intermediate, if you ask them to do a squat, it's going to look like a squat. They just need to tweak a few things. If you ask a beginner to do a squat, that ain't going to look like a squat. And it's, you've probably got 10 different teaching points that you've got to try now, get this person to get into their head. It's a lot easier when you're in person and you can physically move them and go, right, turn your feet out, right, feel the weight in your heels. Now, where do you feel it? Okay, that's moved slightly there. Okay, so now do this. And just, it's kind of a lot more interactive. I think complete beginners do 100% still need that face-to-face coaching, because they need somebody to physically move them into the right position. But most people, if they've been training for more than, say, 3-6 months, they can get away with it's the structure, the accountability that are the main things. Because you can go online and find hundreds of programs out there, but they're designed for the person to adapt to them, not for me to go, okay, you're a working father at an office job all day, overhead pressing, probably not going to be a good idea. Your shoulders are going to be really, really tight. So I'm going to drop overhead presses at your program and just put a slight incline barbell, slight incline dumbbell bench press, because it's going to be much easier on your shoulders. You get a very, very similar kind of result from it. And on that note, the first question from tonight is from Mark Reiners. So for the audio listeners on this, some of these questions that are coming in tonight have come out of the group transformation program we are doing. We will try to explain, if there's anything specifically referring to the program that they're on, we will try to explain things to make things a little bit clearer. Because obviously this wasn't just a general Q&A, it's a Q&A about like a specific program. So I'm just going to put that out there first. So quick question for the coaches. Hopefully I haven't missed it being covered elsewhere. I recently increased the dumbbells collection up to 40 kilos. Tonight on the slight incline bench, I fairly easily managed to get my set of 10 and 12 with the 40s. What would you suggest doing for week 2? Increase the reps further, or would moving to barbells make any sense? Can't really afford to go grab 45 and 50 kilo dumbbells right now. Thought 40 would be me for a while. So I'll let you, because I've answered this one in the group, I'll let you answer this one, Rach.
So I'd say you've got 2 options, and it very much depends how fixed you are on certain movements, positions, equipment. If you have a preference to use a barbell and it's comfortable, you know, you don't sort of have any issues with your form, technique, it's good, you could move on to that, but that will then be your lift. You're not then going to revert back if you've got a pair of dumbbells in 3 weeks time, because we're looking for consistency across the programming. Because this is progressive and we are going to be changing things when you do have a check-in with your coaches. If there are any issues around that, these are things that we can sort of have a little bit of a feedback on. Because like other group coaching, what we're not doing with the program is just giving everybody it for the 8 weeks and that's it. We're doing those weekly check-ins for the accountability. So there is a little bit of scope for a little bit of chat around things should it be needed. However, you might want to consider you might even want to record it, have a playback and just consider the quality of the reps. I think I did catch this one a little bit earlier on. And the wording wasn't quite along the lines of every rep was as consistent as the other. If that was the case, I'd be expecting that person to be working around an RPE 6-7 because, you know, that they're fine with the weight that they've got. So the other option you've got there is to put in a tempo or in a slight pause, but that needs to be dependent on what you want to get out of this. We're not just going in week on week, just moving the weight. We actually want to lift it with decent form. We want that controlled range and we want to be able to progress with the lift. So what I would probably suggest going to would be a tempo, if that's something you can continue with, or you could look at potentially doing, depending on how many sets, because I haven't had a full look over the guys one, you could then separate 2. What's the first rep? What's the rep ranges on them?
I think it's 6 to 10 on the first set and then 8 to 12 on the second set.
Cool. So your first set could actually be barbell bench. Your second set as your assistance could be with your dumbbells because you're going to be a lot more fatigued. So those 40s, if you're putting 50 on the board, those 40s for the higher rep range could be more than enough, or then you can move to putting a tempo in with it. There's quite a few ways to go about it, like I'm sure you've mentioned, but it's just considering what you've got use of for the next sort of 7 weeks and what you can stick to consistently. If you want to progress with one set, which is going to be pure barbell, and then you switch to your dumbbells if you've only got that set, but putting in the tempos in there as well. What feedback did you give?
I put about doing a pause or adding a mini band. So looping a mini band around the dumbbells and then around your back on the bench. So then, and it's making sure you really control the tempo. If you've got a mini band, that's going to try to accelerate the dumbbells down to you. Yeah. Therefore, you've got to really, really control that tempo on the way down and then just up in the rep range. So at the end of the day, because it's a hypertrophy rep range, you can achieve hypertrophy anywhere between like 6 and 30 reps. So I would potentially push the rep range up to 20s. You can do a set of 20. You can do a set of 20 with 40 kilos in each arm. Like you are strong. That's that. And as well, you are going to build some size. It was very, very humbling for me when I first incorporated like sets of 12 to 20. So I was chest pressing, say 45s in the gym for a set of 8 to 12. And then my coach put in like sets of 20, the weight dropped right back down to like 20 kilos. Yeah. Just because that when you get to 15, it's fine. But that between 15 and 20, it's just a whole different energy system that gets kicked in there. And yeah, it puts your ego aside and then slowly building up then the weight till you can do like sets of 20 at say 30, 35 and 40 kilos. You'll be amazed the difference it can make in terms of muscle growth. So next question. So we've got the macros calculator for me. The 25% deficit comes out at 2,741. For the last couple of months, I've been on 2,300 calories, sticking to that 80% of the time. I felt like I have plenty of energy, so it doesn't seem right to add 400 calories in when I'm trying to drop weight. So I think this one will probably be a good one to cover. So whenever you sign up with a coach, we will do some maths to try and estimate where your calories or energy in needs to be in order to put you in a deficit. The majority of the people that have come onto this program, actually no, all the people that are on this program are looking to cut body fat / maybe build some muscle tissue if we're doing a bit of a recomp phase, which it is possible to build muscle and burn fat at the same time. It's just a little bit slower. So that's the first thing to cover there. So Tony has come into this process already running a deficit, which the calculator can't take into account because it is just going off your height, weight, body fat percentage, and activity levels. We can't put into there how to accommodate for the fact you're already in a deficit when you're coming into this. So by the numbers it's saying there, at the size that you are, you should be able to run a 25% deficit at 2,700 calories, which means you are probably under eating at 2,300. Now, is that a problem? If you can do it consistently, it doesn't affect your mood, it doesn't affect your training, and you are able to do it for a long period of time, then no. It just means that you will achieve the results that you want when it comes to fat loss faster. However, if you've got a lot of weight to lose and you've got to be in a deficit for a long period of time, if you pull out so at 2,700 calories at 25% deficit, you're probably already at a 500 calorie deficit. If you've then pulled another 400, you've pulled 900 calories out straight away. As you go further into a dieting phase, you will end up having to dig more into a deficit. You'll end up pulling some more calories. You'll end up adding in cardio. You're going to end up adding in like activity. If you're already starting at rock bottom calories, there's not much further you can go down before you're hitting your BMR level. Now, for me personally, I don't like to pull calories under BMR. I find it has too many knock-on effects to things like health. People start picking up coughs and colds. They can't recover properly. It just has too many side effects. But if somebody's already at like rock bottom calories before they even come in, like we have to then have a conversation of, right, you're not in the right place to be in deficit right now. We actually need to run you at a maintenance / surplus for a number of weeks to repair the metabolic damage you've essentially been doing to yourself for however many months or years you've been running a deficit before we can even put you into a deficit to then be able to kind of cut body fat. So I'm not sure kind of about your take on it. I know, Rach, you don't tend to focus on calories and stuff as much in your training. It's more like a secondary thing. So is there anything you want to add to that?
It's not that I don't focus on it. It's that's what I get people not to focus on. It's focused on kind of the performance, but yeah, which is like hugely, completely influenced by the intake. And I've done it myself in the past, loads of past experience, ridiculous diet, you know, the famous 1,200 calorie diet. Like these numbers just come from like arbitrary numbers, come from wherever in magazines, whatever. But I've been through this myself, and the amount of stress you put on your body through not eating at the level that you're eating at, you're just digging yourself into a hole, which is even harder to climb back out of, more so from a mental perspective, because then you feel like you're completely wasted time and you're going backwards. Now, what I put into the main group before we'd actually started was the consideration of taking a deload week. You can apply the same principle to a diet break as well, in terms of you setting yourself up for success to then continue from where you're at, get a little bit back to maintenance, and what you should feel like across that week, it might even be a couple of weeks that's needed. It just kind of restores, refills you. Pair that with a deload as well. You know, like it completely changes how you feel from a psychological perspective. And then you're good to go again, especially if you continue to do this diet phases. And that's what the downfall is with people who don't work with coaches and just read general things in magazines. It's seen as an 8-week diet or a 12-week diet. And that's cool, but where do you go after that? Or what do you do? Just continue it? Well, that's when you'll run yourself into the ground even further. Cold sores, stress, poor sleep, hunger, cravings, like things that you'd never even want to eat. You just can't get satiated at all. So with that, the best thing to do is either work with coaches or map out what your diet is going to look like and sort of where you're willing to take calories to, and taking into account what life looks like as well. Like there's some people who literally, they're so busy, they do not have time to do cardio, and it's like, right, okay, well, we're going to have to cut those calories lower. But if you can put more movement in to expend those calories, then put that in, keep the calories where they are. I know someone who'd asked a question, you might come up with this later, about eating back calories that like your Fitbit or your watch had shown. And it's a case of, no, that's increased activity. That's just going to help you get towards your goals faster, but you're actually going to feel better because you're continuing to include the calorie bank as such that we need to in order to function. You might still then find that you dip a bit because you've been so overactive and that your calories need to be higher. And I've found with clients in the past that when you actually put calories up, the weight comes down because they are a lot more active and they want to do more, and that lethargy has gone. But again, it comes down to how long you've been in deficit, how long you could see yourself doing this for. For all, we've got sort of an 8-week block. You might be better off for a week, getting yourself onto maintenance calories, and then just kind of coming back into it with still a good 6 weeks to tackle things at. But it's that dissociation from what the scale weight might show. And that maintenance jump isn't maintenance to eating any foods. It's still kind of prioritizing health where it matters. And that includes things like intolerances, gluten, things that don't settle well in your stomach and would have an effect on your energy and lethargy as well.
Right. Right. So Michaela has put in a couple of questions. Apologies if it's been asked. What is the percent of 1 rep max we should be looking at aiming for with our sets? So I'll cover each of these ones individually. So there's 3 questions in here. So in terms of percentage of your 1 rep max, we're not working on percentage of 1 reps max because it's more of a hypertrophy / bodybuilding program with this. So this is why it's super important that people are tracking their workouts from week to week. So the percentages you're working from are what you got the week before. So the first week is like an established week. So say, for example, there is a rep range of say 6 to 10. If somebody picks, say, for example, they're doing barbell bench press, they get 60 kilos and they hit 10. Next week, they're looking to add 2.5 to 5 kilos onto that weight and still get between 6 and 10. If they add 5 kilos on and they get 5, then they might want to go somewhere in between the 2 next week. Whereas if they get, say, 8, then they'd keep that weight the same. Then next week they'd aim for 9, and the week after that they'd aim for 10. So we're aiming to either increase the amount of weight that's lifted, increase the number of reps within the ranges, or getting a better quality of rep. So as Rachel said earlier, when you're working up there at like your high percentage of like your, let's call it your 10 rep max, reps 7 through 10 probably aren't going to look the same as reps 1 through 3 if it's like RPE 8 or 9. So what it's then doing is going, okay, those last 3 were a little bit sloppy, so I'm going to tidy those 3 up. I'm going to keep the weight and the reps the same for the next few weeks to tidy those reps up before I push the weight back up. So sometimes it's about putting the ego back in your pocket and going for, especially for hypertrophy style stuff, it's quality over quantity all the time. It's not just moving the weight from A to B. It's about making that connection with the muscle and making sure that you're getting the full range of motion. You're not getting assistance from somewhere else. Like you'll see a lot of things, especially isolation exercises, people like keeping it at the hips and all that kind of stuff. If they're doing bicep curls, like none of that. It's just making sure you're hitting the muscle you want to and you're keeping it nice and tight. So how many cardio sessions should I be aiming for? On this program, we're saying we're probably not going to be adding cardio. I don't think we'll be adding cardio in until at least week 3 at a minimum. So if people were already doing cardio and they enjoy it, we're not going to tell them to not do it. But it's as long as if I say to you, right, I now need you to add in 2 half-an-hour sessions at 130 beats per minute, you could do that on top of what they're already doing, or just give your body a little bit of a break from cardio because it's gonna we'll be incorporating some of that later on. And are we measurements tracking as well, or is it just if we feel personally we want to? So I'm going to let you answer this one, Rich. Like, how do you feel about measurements tracking? Do you think it's a useful tool, or is it just another thing that people can get obsessed with?
I think pretty much whatever you measure is of as much use as you can handle and want it to be used for. Some people will get so attached to that number on the scale, and irrespective of knowing, being informed, being educated on the fact that water retention, poor sleep, more fiber, more salt, not enough water, more water, hormones, just absolutely everything, stress, loads, affects that number hugely. And for females, I found in the past there's such a huge attachment to this. Like, there's still a really old, I hate the word old fashioned, but an old set mentality where it's weighing yourself every day. And I know a lot of people who are on kind of in the transformation group of the age where they're potentially seeing their mums or went to classes with their mum for like Weight Watchers, which was like, get on the scale, find your weight, the person who's lost the most weight gets an award, clap, clap, clap. Like, that needs to just be binned because it doesn't serve a purpose whatsoever. So if you are comfortable with the weight, or if you want to get comfortable with it, get it, write it down, put it away somewhere, or put it in a note that you just literally send over to your coach. That number doesn't mean anything other than the weight of you on earth. That's literally it. So for example, over a course of 6 month period, if you don't get your hair cut and you've got really long hair, that's going to add more weight to it, that sort of thing. In terms of other measurements, take them again if you want to. If you know that's something that is something that's going to get you, if it doesn't change, then don't take it. If you've got clothes that you have and want to get back into, or you've got clothes that you feel more comfortable in, use them as a measurement. You don't have to do anything, but doing something is useful because that allows you to experience and feel the success. It can even be taking photos. It can be something, but I'd really get people to consider it being something. When I was at my biggest, I very rarely weighed myself, and I have hardly got any photos of myself. And I wish I did, just to go kind of be able to say, like, look, I have actually achieved all this, because it is such just an important thing to recognize that the efforts you put in are actually part of the process, and it's understanding the process which allows you to experience a success. It's not about that end result, because that is what we'll find after 8 weeks. That result will change and it'll continue to change because it's part of growth. And all of this, it's the accountability we've got, it's a program we've got, and that is all about growth, and you actually putting your mind and body to something consistently that you might not have done before, with the intention of growth, not from a physical perspective, but in terms of where you are going as a person, someone who can stay consistent, someone who sets goals, who achieves goals, who sticks to their word. And once you're doing this with the program, you'll find that you begin to apply that to life outside of training as well. So it's a bit of like a weird experiment that we do on ourselves when we do all this. Bodybuilding yourself, as you know, Don, like, that's a huge mental thing. If you can't get your head into the process, not the goal, not the end goal, the process, then you've already lost, because you don't see those changes overnight. You'll see them over like 300 nights, but not over like 5, 10, 15. So in summary, measure whatever you want to measure, track what you want to track, but do something, because it's always of use for you to understand your body, especially as a female, more than anything as well. And I think we'd had a few comments of the group where people had mentioned they lost weight overnight, or body fat going up and down, this or the other. Just take that with a real pinch of salt. Take your measurements across the 7 days if that's what you're doing, and then we look at the averages week to week as well. Females, we look at the average of week 1 in your menstrual cycle to week 1 of the menstrual cycle the following month as well. So for the females, it's going to be a little bit harder, but we've got kind of a 2-month measurement to look at as well there.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm probably going to be sticking all the females on your spreadsheet, so you know. But yeah, in terms of why we're not tracking measurements on the program, basically with it being a group thing, there's only so much we can track, so we have to pick the big things, so that we've got 5 things in the check-in that we need to check up with people, so that we can basically keep on top of it. And this is the big difference between group coaching and one-to-one coaching. So with my one-to-one coaching clients, if they've got a target to get into a lower dress size, then yeah, of course we're going to measure your waist. Of course we're going to measure your hips, because that's your target. That's the main thing that you're focusing on. If it's guys, right, we want to add muscle on, of course we're going to be getting girth measurements of your chest, of your arms, because that's the goal that you've got. The main goal that we've got in this transformation program is to drop body fat. So that's why we're measuring those things. If the main goal was to drop a dress size, we would have probably, looks like I've got a lazy eye in the camera, we'd have probably included measurements. So it's not that they're not a useful tool. It's just, again, with group coaching, we've just got to be very specific about what we are able to do, especially at £15. Like, you're not going to find a better quality coaching program than the one we've just put on for that ridiculous price. I'm amazed we only got 30 people in there, if I'm being honest. However, I'm also kind of glad, because it means that we can actually massively over deliver for those 30. If there was 60 plus in there, like, would we be getting the same level of time to each of these people? I'm not 100% sure. So I'm probably going to call it there, just because I know you need to get off, and so do I. So we'll have a nice quick one today. We've been about, I can't even see the recording, I reckon about 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a nice place to leave it. So if people want to check out what you're up to, Rach, where can they find you? Social media, so Instagram, Facebook.
Facebook, I don't really use, it's just personal one. Instagram is rs_strength_coach. The gym, like I said, everything's pretty much online, so it's just running through my name as it is now. Yeah, or in the home gym group. I'm about every so often, depending on what life's thrown at me. Yeah, but if anyone is listening to this and you don't feel like we've answered the questions, we are going to be chipping into the home gym group itself, and the transformation group, with the other answers as well, because we know week to week we're going to be having them. But all we want to do is answer ones that were specific to general listeners, as well as those who are on the transformation. So don't feel like we've ignored you. There's just been a lot of questions.
Yeah, we're going to get back to them and stick up a new box on Monday, probably. So for myself, it is at Deej PT on both Facebook and Instagram. And we've got a very, very exciting guest lined up for next week. We'll probably start dropping some hints about that into the group leading up to that one dropping, just because next week is our 50th episode. So yeah, we wanted to make sure we got a very special guest on for that. I'm pretty sure you guys will absolutely love it. The last strongman we had on was our best episode so far. So yes, thanks for all your time tonight, Rach. Appreciate it, and I will speak to you later on, I'm sure. No worries. Bye for now.
Cheers, bye.